Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is the middle of June and it is time for our garden tour. I usually do them on the first of every month, so they're always on the same date. This year I just didn't, obviously. I kept waiting until the garden was ready, waiting. Well, if I do that, it's just going to be winter time because the garden's never going to be like ready. We do have pretty much everything in the ground that we want to get planted. I do have some seeds or like seedlings on my porch that are like in succession planting of stuff that I've already planted out here. So they're just up there waiting to go into the garden. So this is what the garden looks like from the front. That's our compost area down there. So in these first two rows right here, we have our slicing tomatoes, basil, marigolds. We have 3 different slicing tomatoes this year. We have Cherokee Purple, Lemon Boy, maybe? Lemon something, it's a yellow one. And then a regular beefsteak. The basil is just normal green basil. And then down here we have nasturtium seeds planted. And so in the second row, there's a marigold at the end, and then tomato and basil, and the same ones, just our slicing tomatoes. We did get these hog panels, or cattle panel, whatever you want to call them, used. And it had all this twine on there, and I was just too lazy to cut it off. In this section, we planted pole beans. And we actually have planted them a second time now because the first ones were all just coming up and dying. So like that's one that just like came up and died. And we just replanted the second batch of seeds yesterday. There's another one. So in our third row, we have our poblano peppers. I am probably going to stick a sunflower at the end of each of these rows. I do have sunflowers still in seed trays, and I need to start finding spots for them out here. This section is green beans, a bush, well, not green. They were dragon's tongue. They're like purple and yellow. And 2 plants came up. And this row was doing the same thing where it was like popping up and just like dying. So like there's one. So we ended up replanting this yesterday also with regular green bush beans. So there's a couple plants that did make it for these beans, but a lot of them were just like coming up and dying. And then next, these are all corn rows. They do need to be weeded. Everything does. But there's little corns popping up. We did not have good germination with this corn. This was like 4-year-old corn, 3-year-old corn. So we have replanted in the spots where it didn't germinate. So I'm kind of waiting to see if that comes up before I weed it. I might just have to weed it because it's looking pretty bad. So there's little corns. So then walking towards the back of our garden where we have our raised beds, we have 3 of them, but that one is overtaken by weeds. So last year we didn't use this one right here, and we redid it this spring and planted in it. So I doubt the other one that needs to be redone will be done this year. In the middle one, we have our garlic. I did harvest scapes off it. There are more that need to be harvested. And it's going to get fertilized after this video. I was going to do it yesterday, but it was rainy and I just didn't feel like it, so I need to do it tonight. And then in this raised bed, we have some flowers at the end. We have lots of rows of like kohlrabi and beets in here. They are starting to sprout. They need to be thinned. We have dill in here. Leftover cauliflower plants got put in here. There's the beets growing, and then we have herbs. This is our compost area. It is a little rough. It's just made with like scrap pallets and lumber, but there's 4 bins back here. We've been putting this pile into our compost bins and layering it with like our grass that we mow. And this is all from like our animal pens and grass clippings, brush that we've cut down, boxes, all kinds of stuff. So I'm back at the top of my garden, and this is the middle area. I have some buttercup squash growing here and some spaghetti squash, and they'll vine down that way. So there's lots of space in between the next row. In this next row, I have a bunch of marigolds and cabbages. We got these cabbages a week and a half ago maybe, and they were like end of season at a greenhouse we stopped at, and we picked them up and put them here. In this row we have our peppers. We have some cayenne peppers here. This is a shallot that came back. This is its second year that it's came back, and it is about to flower. And then we have some jalapeno and some green peppers over here. In this next row, we have our summer squash and our zucchini and a row of sunflowers. This zucchini, when we first planted it, it got like ate up with bugs right away, and the plants are coming back from that. That one's a little iffy. But the summer squash we planted right next to it is fine and is already starting to make squashes. Row of sunflowers. Some of them died. I transplanted them all, and then we had like 3 90-degree days, and some of them didn't make it, so I have replanted with seed. If that doesn't work, then I will get some from my porch and put out here. And then back here in front of this last raised bed is a huge comfrey plant. It's not huge right now, but it was. We just chopped it all down because it was flopped over and it was time to be chopped down. So then staying in the back of our garden along this fence, we have our rhubarb plant that was planted last year. We have some seeds in here. We don't know if they're gonna come up because of the weeds. It's hard to garden back here, and we should have just put the tomatoes in here like we did last year. There are some slicing tomatoes back here, and then the rest are Amish paste and San Marzano. So in this next row we have marigolds, and then we have our second planting of radishes. We originally planted parsnips here and they did not grow. This is like the 4th year of trying to grow parsnips and them not growing. So I have no idea what I'm doing wrong there. Hopefully next year is the year. This next bed is carrots. It is really weedy. I need to get in here again. But they did not germinate well. These beds got like tore up by cats and by deer when we first planted it, and the seeds got scattered all over, and they had a hard time germinating. And I really wanted carrots for canning this year. I left that daisy there. When I saw that it was a daisy, I started mowing around it. We do mow in between our rows instead of having them rototilled or covered with plastic or fabric. And then this is cauliflower and broccoli. The deer have been getting in here. The deer have been getting in the whole garden. It's been really bad this year. And then going down this next row, we have shallots. These are onion seed, and you can see where all the mulch is messed up. That's where like deer have walked through and cats have walked through and the neighbor's dogs. So everything's tore up. But I started these onions from seeds out here in this bed, and I would probably try it again. We'll see. We're gonna have onions in 2 different times. Like these onions back here that I started from sets are gonna be ready way before these ones. That's fine. In this next row, we have kale. We've already harvested from this a few times. And then there's a little one over there struggling. And then, so I messed up when I was planting this row. I thought I had 2 red cabbages, but one was a purple kohlrabi and one was a purple red cabbage. And so I planted kohlrabi on this side and cabbage on this side. But I thought I was planting purple cabbages next to each other. So there's kohlrabi and cabbage. This cabbage didn't make it, so it is a cauliflower now. Then we have our regular green cabbages. I don't know the names of these. I just go to a nursery and buy these, so I don't start them from seed. And we have been having quite the battle with cabbage moths and cabbage worms. I've been out here picking worms off, trying to find eggs. They are out here feasting. We do not spray anything on our plants, use any chemicals or anything like that. That is another cauliflower plant. Yeah, these are cauliflower plants too, because cabbages died. We put cauliflower there. Here is our celery. This side is not doing well. I mean, it's not dead, but it could definitely be bigger. This needs to be weeded and remulched. I did already weed and remulch these. And down here are the Brussels sprouts. These look pretty wilty, but it just rained last night. Might have to check and see if they need water. They look really wilty. But they've been dealing with cabbage worms eating them also. We did have 4 kohlrabi back there, and those are already gone and ate. And that is a radish that has went to seed that was a volunteer plant. And they are looking really good. We have red, purple, Kennebec, and russets. This next row is our pea row. It's looking really good. We have been getting peas off of them. Of course, I can't find one. There's one. And then we have the cucumber plants down here that I started from seed. And these cucumber plants I started from seed in my last video. But then I also started some in the ground right here. These look nice. We planted them like in early April. And it was cold. They got cold a few nights, but they look good now. And then we have our cherry tomatoes down here. So going up in this row, up towards the front of the garden, here is kohlrabi that I planted. This was from seed. The other kohlrabi in the other row was from a greenhouse. But I planted this out here, I think in April also. And it's looking good. I am ready for some more kohlrabi. I feel like it's taking forever. I found 2 volunteer tomatoes. This last year was our cherry tomato and tomatillo and pickle row. So we'll see. Hopefully they get big enough to do tomatoes. And then this was our first planting of radishes. They're all done. We've ate them. And then we're letting some go to seed because we heard the pods were really good. So we wanted to try them this year. This is dinosaur kale, and I started this from seed right out here in the ground this year. It's looking pretty good. This is some rainbow chard. I did get this at a greenhouse. And then this is kohlrabi, and it is looking pretty rough. And that is because I actually dug these up from the patch of kohlrabi down there when they needed to be thinned and transplanted them here. So they're looking pretty rough, but I think they're gonna make it. And then this is a chard plant that I started from seed out here. So along the side of our garden, next to our chicken coop, I planted sunflowers, and these are actually sunflowers I started from seed in my last video, and they were on my porch all spring. They're out here doing well. So this back here used to be our goat pen. I did rehome our goats in like January or February, and then I brought home a really big male pig to breed our pigs, and then we rehomed him a month ago, maybe. Careful, don't get shocked by the fence, dude. So this spot is open again, and we are using it for our vining plants. So we have buttercup squash. Most of these squashes, these buttercups, well, I think they're buttercup, but they were volunteers that were out here, so we dug them up and put them in a row. We have some pumpkin seeds planted. This used to be our walkway into this part of the garden. So we put a rope there because I was scared I was going to keep walking through it, and there are dry bean plants planted there. We have watermelon, cantaloupe, and then another row of beans back there. So I forgot to mention that we live in northern Michigan, and that's gardening zone 5A. That is it for the tour.